Orphanage is owned by Professor Solomon Musa Tarfa and his wife, Mercy. Today we are speaking with Mercy. Mercy, please, you are welcome to this program. Thank you for coming to speak with us.
Thank you, sir.
Tell me, what was going through your mind when you were planning for Christmas? There was a knock on your door, and then the police came in with NAPTIP officials to arrest you and your kids. What was going through your mind then?
I think I named that Christmas Black Christmas because all through my mind is so blank that I can't even remember some things. I was just like somebody walking, but I don't know if I'm alive. I won't forget that very Christmas. Just like my husband narrated, we're busy preparing and having a nice time. With the children, we planned to make that Christmas a unique one. There were programs we planned. And so we fasted that morning, preparing to eat our food by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. At around 1:30, that was when we had their knock. And we thought they were visitors because on Christmas Day, we normally have visitors who come into the home to visit and share their food. They eat together with the children. So we thought they were visitors. We said, is it that police people decided this Christmas to visit? But I was so shocked and surprised. First, they started with, just like my husband said, the commissioner said he wants to see us in the Bombay headquarters, that he wants to see us and the children. I asked them if there's any problem. He said, no, he just wants to see us. I said, why didn't the commissioner ask for us on 23rd, on 22? Why on Christmas Day? I was so bothered about Christmas. Why is it today? What they said was I should just calm down and we'll get to hear from the commissioner. Well, I went inside because I was just on the clothes that I can't go out with. I told my husband, let me go in and change my clothes so that we'll now move with them. Before I will wear my clothes, I remembered carrying my phone and said, let me call my lawyer. Let him know what is happening. So I think they heard me talking to the lawyer and I was explaining. Just like 2 minutes before I will finish wearing my clothes and came out, I didn't see my husband and the children. It was as if they just vanished from the sitting room. And I saw one of my sons. I was asking, where are they? He said they just drove off so fast. The moment I went in, well, my lawyer came and I narrated everything. He said, okay, that we should just rush to the Bombay police station. We went there. I saw my husband writing statement, some of my children writing statement. And what they were saying is there was no any commissioner. There was nobody for us to discuss as they claim. Our lawyer now asked them, what is the problem? They said, we are running an illegal orphanage in Kano. Our lawyer said no, that we have documents. They said, okay, we should present the document. We drove with my lawyer back home on that same Christmas Day. By 6 in the evening, we drove back, collected the certificate, and we brought the certificate to them. But the IPO of the case checked the certificate. He said, well, as they can see, the commissioner and other people, they have to present this certificate to their lawyers so that their lawyers will authenticate the certificate. While our own lawyer told them that this is something you can check. You can verify from onset and to check if this certificate is okay. He said, no, that is the work of their lawyer, that we should go and come back the next day, being 26. Then their lawyers will verify and then things will continue from there. That is the word he used. 26, we went back. That night, I couldn't sleep. I don't know. It was as if I'm in a dream. The IPO now narrated again. And we asked him, you said we should come today. What is? He said, no, that they are charging the case to court. And as we can look, there is nobody here now. Day is 26. There's nothing they can do. That we have to come back the next day. Today is a public holiday. A lawyer said, well, the day you came to arrest, which is 25th, was public holiday. You told us to come back today. Now you are telling us 26 is a public holiday, 26, 27. On the 28th, that was when we came in the morning, only to find out that they have charged him to court. We were there, right there with him, but we never knew that he was taken away and taken to court. While I myself and the lawyers were there. It was a Christmas that I can never forget in my life.
What happened when he was finally charged to court?
The first time they charged him to court, he pleaded not guilty. We were not there. The lawyer didn't even know what they charged him for. First, they came back that very time. They said criminal conspiracy and abduction of minors, that he abducted the children. That was 4 days after illegal orphanage was on the file. 4 days after they changed it to criminal conspiracy and abduction of minors. And that was the beginning of the time we started going to court, all through till New Year 2020, 2020, he went to court. That was what they were charging him for: criminal conspiracy and abduction of minors. For 2 years, they tried to convince the children, because I was always there in the Nasarawa orphanage. I made sure that I followed my children up for them to keep seeing, because they were also thinking that it's something that will finish within a day or 1 month. But the thing keeps lingering. There is always adjourning of case. That was what the High Court was doing in favor of the state. They were just adjourning the case, criminal conspiracy and abduction of minors. They were going to the children in the home, because the children told me they will ask them that they should deny us, they should say we stole them. When they find out that the children refuse to align with whatever they are trying to let them do, they discover that they cannot do anything. Finally, they judged the case, and we won the case. According to the judge, he said they couldn't bring any proof that we abducted or stole the children. So he acquitted that case. That very day that he acquitted the case, another charges was brought. That was when the day they submitted the charge of fake certificate, that the certificate given to him by the Ministry of Women Affairs is fake. Well, he spent almost 9 months, 11 months in the prison before the second judgment.
At what point did they carry the children from the cell to the government orphanage?
I think 3 days, is it 2 days after? Is 1 day after. I think the 26th, towards evening. That was when they took them to Nasara home. The 19 children they collected first was taken, until they traveled 4 days after to Kaduna and went and brought the remaining 9 children. They were also taken to Nasara home 5 days after.
Okay. Now, and you said you were monitoring them when they were at the Nasarawa home.
Yes,
what
sir.
happened? What did the children tell you when they were in the home?
When they got to the home, the first challenge the children told me was they discovered that it was all about Islamization. When they got there, they were telling them that they can't continue as Christians. They must change their names. They must change anybody who comes to that home must be a Muslim. I thank God for the foundation that Jesus himself built in the life of my children. A lot of them were fighting and saying that they are Christians and they are not turning to Muslims. They discovered that these are not just mere Christians that they can just ask them. They terrorize them with hunger. They told them that if they don't convert in this place, they normally deal with them and send them to a particular home where they will beat them. There were a lot of threats they did to these children, but they refused. They said for them to live is Christ and to die is gain. Because I always, in short, I take my time when this thing happened. I told myself that this is a mission that God has given me. Every 2 days, 3 days, I'm in the home. I thank God for the police who took me, the policewoman who took me. When they took the children there, she took me to the home and introduced me to the director and said, this is their mother. She will be coming and checking on her children. So I always come there to check on them. In short, my children refused eating. I had to go talk to them. I had to cook. The food I cooked on Christmas Day that they never ate, when they got there that day, they refused eating. They stayed like that. I had to cook and then take some of those things and brought to them. From there, I used to cook and bring for the children in the home. They will allow me. But after some years, some time, the director said the commissioner gave an order that I shouldn't cook because they think I may poison the children. That was how the cooking was a problem, sending food from the...
Okay, so you actually stopped taking food from you.
Yes,
that
sir.
we are going to poison their children.
Yes, sir. Not only even the food.
And how many of the children, how many is now?
Sir, at the beginning, for over 3 years, nobody converted. The bigger ones were there. That was the reason why they were trying to give the bigger ones back to Khan, because the bigger ones were stopping them from converting. They stood as family and they were rejecting any convert from any corner. They tried all the big ones. When they discovered that they couldn't convert them, they knew that the big ones will stop them from reaching out to the smaller ones. So the 11 bigger ones who are 11 years and above were released to Khan. Khan called me and told me that this is what they call them. I said, leave my children, leave all of them there, because I know what the plan of the enemy is. This is their agenda. But Khan told me that it is better we collect them small by small, bit by bit. I said, okay, if that is what you are being led, for me, I'm led that these ones are doing the work that we protect the smaller ones. But when those 11 were now given out back to Khan, and Khan returned them the next day to me, there was still one bigger person in the home who they kept as witness. Sarah was there at witness. To them, they felt Sarah was somebody that they could manipulate. So they kept her over some period of time. They were so good, giving her so many things there, thinking they could do that to her. At one time, Sarah called me and said they called her in their office and asked her that how will she feel if they bring a husband, somebody that can marry her, and is a rich person, he will give her this, he will give her that. Sarah told me she laughed. She laughed at them and then turned to them and told them that what can light do with darkness? How can light and darkness join? And they had to drive Sarah. The next day after that interview, Sarah said they threw her property by the gate. In short, it was my lawyer that went on Christmas. That was a 2023 Christmas, and they threw her things outside. They sent her away, remaining the 16 children. I think 3 months after Sarah came out, Sarah got wedded to the glory of God. She married a pastor, and the battle for conversion continued. 8 of the bigger ones, that was those ones from age 14 to 16, 8 of them refused. If I tell you how these children were converted, you will laugh. I remember one of the days I visited the home. They told me that Solomon, they told one of the children to give Solomon 200. That if he can turn to Muslim, they will give him 200. Children give them food. They won't give them whatever they ask for. They said in that home, one of the things that pains them is that they are not used to eating kuka soup every day. So mostly they feed on bread that is given and many other things that visitors will bring. And when Solomon saw 200, he collected it. Yes, sir. One of the boys who converted, his name is Emmanuel. I think they sent one girl, because the method they use in that home, they keep these children. I go there every day. In the evening, some of the boys from the bigger boys section will go to the girls section. They will go and look for girlfriend or this one. They will stay and have time to gist together. Now, this other boy, they told him that if he can convert to Muslim, they will give him one of the girls as his girlfriend. In short, it was the girl that came and met him, that if he can convert to Muslim, that she will friend him. That was how, according to them, converted to Muslim. He was 13 years old. The same thing with the smaller ones. Mercy, Emmanuel, Martha, Esther, and Destiny. 5 of them. What they did was to pack these 5 small minors, took them to a village called Gaya. They kept them there with Hizbah police. That was where they started teaching them Islamic doctrine. What they resolved doing was to take Esther and took Esther to an Islamic school in Kibia under Katsina. That was where they started converting those smaller ones. In short, when they brought them back, because we heard of it, we advocated in TV and other places that this is what Kano State is doing. When this new commissioner came, she brought them back. These children could not speak English again. It was only Hausa and Arabic. These are the children now they are claiming have converted. When the court gave an order that the children be released, we went to the home. I was so surprised that the commissioner, what they did, if they don't want the children to go, since the children are there, they will give them laptop, they will give them iPad. These are the things they are presenting before the children and telling them that if they come back to do, they are going to kill them. Because anybody that converted to Muslim, if you turn back, they kill you. This is the fear that the children are having. The remaining 7 of them there, they have spoken to me personally and told me that this is one of the threats that they are telling them, that once you convert to Muslim, you don't convert back. Once you do that, you will be killed. This is the stage where we are.
Okay, they said because they have converted them, if they cannot release them to you, if they release them, they will be killed.
Yes, sir. This is the fear of the children.
Did they communicate officially to you? Did they communicate officially, or it was just by word of mouth?
It was word of mouth, sir.
Okay. So is that the reason why they are still keeping the remaining 7 children? Is it 7 or 6?
I think the reason why they are keeping them is best known to the commissioner. When I met with her, the words she used, she said this case, she inherited this case. But that if she was the one that had this case from the beginning, it will not be like this. Because all these children, no one will be returned to do mercy. That was that.
Let me understand. These children that have converted to Islam, what are their ages? Are they up to 16?
The ones, all of the ones that she claims, in short, that was the case when we were in a court, when court gave the order. We agreed together with them that any child that is 18 years and above who converted to Islam will be left. I agree. I signed it. I said, yes, I agree. That any child who is 18 years and above and can stand on his own, who converted to Muslim, should stay there. And among all the 16 children that time, there was no 18 years and above.
And
When
those
she
ones
now
that they
went
have
back,
refused to release.
yeah, when she now went back and checked that the children were not up to 18 years, that was where she started the fight. That judgment cannot stand again.
These children are below the age of consent.
They are
anyway.
all below the age of 18 as for that. The ones who were released
Okay.
now is this year. They are all completing 18. Yes. But the 8 children, one boy, Emmanuel, that is 18 this year. January, he completed 18.
Now,
yes,
let
sir.
me ask you this question. What really makes you happy with this work? Why did you choose this particular work instead of another type of profession?
I think the work chose me. I think God chose me. Just like I won't hide my identity as a believer or as a Christian. God chose me to do this work. This is the work I'm born to do. I can see all the way from when I was small up to this level. My husband gave you a brief explanation on how we started this work. In short, it was God's calling. We were missionaries with Child Evangelism Fellowship, and we serve under that ministry. In that ministry, we reach out to orphans and vulnerable children. And each time we meet those who have problems, there is that concern to help. There is that desire. It will be as if the problem is my own. So we've been reaching out to children, even in their parents' home. As missionaries, we've been doing that. All cases, maybe all these children my husband mentioned in Kano State local government, reaching out, going with pastors and doctors to villages to reach out. That has been our passion. Fulfilling the Great Commission. And this work is my passion, my desire to see lost one have life. Not just in this life alone. Where will they spend eternity? That is my concern. And I thank God that today, in this battle, God is fighting it. And the children, every one of them, just like Jesus said, all the one the Lord has given me, I have not lost one except the son of perdition. And since they are not children of perdition, He chose them from the foundation of the world. He chose them and brought them to the home. He chose them from their foundation. I so much believe that His hand will save them. One of the promises He made to us in this ministry, He said, your inheritance will live forever. And that is why I so much believe that David have rested with Him, because it was a promise, a covenant that covered David. When they were fighting for his body, I laugh. I said, this is the same way they fought for the body of Jesus. But the main important thing is the soul is going to rest with the Lord. So this work is a passion that I have. It's my soul, my heart, my everything that the Lord has created me for. And that is my joy, that I'm fulfilling what God has made me for.
What are the challenges, I may ask, that you faced apart from this seizure of your children and the closure? What were the challenges, some of the things that you've been facing?
One of the greatest challenges we face, this attack was like bringing the ministry to square one. You know, when your name is being spoiled, and they came in a time where the faith is being shaken. I remembered asking the camp chairman when this problem happened. The camp chairman went to see the commissioner. I don't know what he discussed with them, but what he called me and told me, say, Madam, this case is beyond me. This case is beyond me. What they are charging you of. The question I asked him is, sir, do you believe what they are charging me? I did it. Do you believe that I stole children? Do you believe? Can you ask the Holy Spirit? Are we not living in a time where you can ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to you something? Does God speaks? Can He still tell you things now for you to know if I really did this? At a time where I don't know, this was His own word, and that was how He removed His hand from the case. I see the greatest challenge is bringing this work to point zero, but God standing behind us and making it stand. That was my joy, that God did not allow what Kano State planned was kill still destroy, but God never gave them victory. That is one of my greatest challenges, that I go through it and the work is tested and the fruit. I remember that year, God told us, all nations shall see your righteousness and all kings your glory, and you shall be called by a new name, which my mouth, the mouth of the Lord shall name. You shall be a crown of glory in the hands of the Lord, and a royal diadem in the house of God. This was our confession for 1 year. Watch word that God gave us, and God proved it in this work. When Kano State thought they brought the work down, God lifted the work, and today the work is standing. Why they thought that my husband can be in prison and the home can be destabilized, amid that period of that 5 years, I was still reaching out to people. I was still reaching out to children, and I give God praise that He never allowed what Satan planned to carry out, to succeed.
Now, again, still on your personal life, have been the most happiest, the moments of excitement that things have worked well for you? What are the moments that you remember with fun over this period since you started?
The excitement I derive, sir, there are so many moments. I was telling my children, I said, it's like we have to start acting movie because we have a lot of testimonies. The period of time that Sarah could leave that home, and the next thing I called the children, I said, Sarah is marrying. You know, it looked as if she refused to collect a fake husband, and God brought the real one. 3 months after, it was a thing of joy. It was a thing of excitement. I wanted everyone to come out, but I still have that joy and excitement when I saw all of them being released. The time my husband was released from prison was one of the exciting times. I can't even remember some things. If you ask me to tell you how I spent that 2 years, every day of my life, I am cooking and taking to prison. That is the cycle of my life. I have one of my daughter or two who were around me, and that is the cycle of our every day we are waiting. This January will pass, March will pass. We cycle our life. We'll take morning food. We'll take afternoon food. We'll take evening food. And that was all. Sometimes people tell me, I can't remember if I plait my hair or do anything. But the day that the court gave the ruling and the man just said he is acquitted and discharged. Sir, I didn't know when I got up out of the court. I moved by the side and I started raised my hand. I bow and started doing salah for them inside that place, because that is what they will think I am doing. But to me, I bow to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, who promised me that He will make them turn back and be ashamed. So when I saw His word being fulfilled, I had to give Him all the glory. That was one of the exciting. In short, I was looking forward to go to the prison. The man, they told me everything will be signed that very day and my husband will come out. Immediately after the judgment, the lawyer told me that I should hold on. The money they asked, I should bring, and I gave them. They just told me that they will finish everything. Within an hour, and we went to the prison. My husband couldn't believe in his eyes. That was one of my exciting moments that I can't forget. It's a victory that I know only Jesus can give me. Those are my exciting moments.
Okay, as we run up, let me ask you, what is your experience in Jos? Are there any difference between your time in Kano and Kaduna and Jos?
Yes, sir. I don't know how to express it. First, when I came to Jos, we met the Women Affairs. We met people we know. In Women Affairs, when we met them in Jos and Kaduna, Kano and Kaduna, they've been telling us that there is no certificate, nothing. We know of your work. You can go ahead and do it. We are seeing you. We know of you. That was what they were telling us for years, until when Buhari asked that women should be given to any home that want to collect palliative. And when my husband went to them, they gave. But when I came to Jos, God connected me with the secretary to the governor along then. His secretary direct. She was the one that connected me with the Commissioner of Women Affairs. And I went to her office. I narrated all the problem I'm facing. They told me that they are aware of everything, that they've heard of everything that is going on. And this is what I came to do in Jos. I told them of the home, and they welcomed me. They gave me certificate, the same certificate that Kano State refused to give, or Kano State is denying that they never gave, was issued to us. They will refer children. I have some kids in the home right now that are referred from the Ministry of Women Affairs to the home in Jos here. Meanwhile, I have spent 33 years in Kano. Women Affairs for one day have never given domestic palliative for 33 years. Women Affairs have not for one day, even when we will go there and tell them this is who we are, they will claim that they know of us and that they know what we are doing. We should go ahead, not knowing that they have this pre-planned, organized evil, as I will look at it, to carry out on a home that has been helping. And moreover, these children are all from a Christian community. In Sabongeri, most of the cases I handle are children that comes from all these teenage pregnancy cases. Most of all these girls who men put in family way and abandon them, they are all from Sabongeri community. But yet, for once, Kano State as a government have not given one palliative to do. But when I came here to Jos, I was recognized by Women Affairs, recognized by an association in this place, and recognized by the governor. Since when I came here until this December, every December, the governor will give us cow, he will give us rice, bag of corn. Even Easter period, he will give. He gave almost a cash of 5 million this last time to do Mercy. It was as if I'm not, it's just a two different side of the coin. You will see. So I can't compare Kano State with Plateau. I found out that in child care, they are well organized. They are well prepared. They are well furnished. In short, the training they give orphanages, every year we are trained by the state government. If there's any new information, they make sure they pass to us through our association and so on.
Okay, finally, tell me about yourself. Before you married Professor Solomon,
I was an athlete in Kaduna State, and then a young adult, I also was a hairdresser, worked as a hairdresser, and it was then we met with my husband, and we got married early. I married at the age of 23, and that was how we met. He was a missionary. He was going into mission early as a pastor, and God, prepared me for the work that he has for him, and we got married.
And since then, you have been with him doing this work. No regret
at
about doing this work.
Yes, sir. I went to school. I was able to have my OND in business admin, and I had my HND and also had my doctorate degree.
Okay, thank you very much for the time you have spent with us.
Thank you, sir.
We pray and hope that things will get better with you.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir.
So thank you for your time with us.
Amen.